It shows you everything the Police is all about, at least in this album. It delivers everything and even more in a little bit more than 3 minutes. Hello there, girls and boys, and welcome back to the channel. Today we're gonna be reacting to The Police, and the song in question is gonna be Synchronicity Part 1, not the super popular one that is Synchronicity Part 2. This is due to the fact that, well, you will see, this song is amazing, and it's a great opener for an album. I think it's one of the best openers ever written for any album ever in history. But once again, that's my own opinion, so this is the whole point of this, to start the conversation. So, if you're ready and up for it, let's rock and roll. But before we go, if this is your first time on the channel, I welcome you, because in here we analyze the music that we love from the perspective of an active musician and professional music producer, using language that everybody can understand, in a way to expand our knowledge when it comes to music production and songwriting. So if this is your jam, let's rock and roll. So here we go, girls and boys, Synchronicity by The Police. How about that, girls and boys? What an introduction, right? This track, it's simply high-octane energy, don't you think? And the best part, this is the opener for the album, as I mentioned during the introduction to this video. I think it's a great way to bring attention towards the band or to the album itself, because it's super loud. Well, it's not loud. You will see what I mean by that later. But it's super intense. It's super fast. It's super dynamic as well. And also has plenty of elements that are quite attention-grabbing. The first one is the sequencer, the synthesizer that is playing at the very beginning, the tuk-tuk-tuk-tuk. That thing, it's quirky sounding, it's weird, and also has an unnatural quality to it. For those of you who are not used to instruments or terminology, musical terminology, a synthesizer is basically speaking a device or machine that allows us to create sound through the manipulation of electricity. As badass as that sounds. And I got some examples over here. And they have a particular sound to them, and they allow you to create something that has never been heard before, for real. And also you got another element to the synthesizer, which is this known as sequencer, which is basically speaking a device that allows you to set a sequence to be played by the synthesizer by its own. That's why you got the tuk 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 tuk, sounding so precise and robotic, while also retaining this kind of weird nuances that comes from electricity itself flowing through cables and stuff. It's very unique. That's why synthesizers are fantastic in music. Also, the guitar tone, what do you think about it? I think it's excellent, right? The use of effects on the guitar are great, particularly when he's playing those long chords. And once again, please remind me the name of the guitar player for the Police, because I always forget his name. I know that Sting, obviously, is the bass player and singer, and Steve Copeland is playing the drums. And damn it, he's on fire in this one. I will give you my take on his performance later on, but believe me, this song, he's rocking it. He's the star of the show. Also, the sound of the drums. What do you think about him? I love them. They sound kind of organic, yet punchy, well controlled, and pretty much directed to you. Once we hit the song, the mix analysis, I'm gonna give you more details on what I think about the drums. But they are adding a lot of energy to this track. Very very cool. Now, when it comes to vocals, the vocal sound is amazing, right? Particularly when we hit those that vocal arrangement, it's amazing. I simply love it. The first time that I listened to this track, I was like, wow, this is kind of classical music influenced. Very, very well crafted. The execution is excellent. And also, you can tell that they are playing around with the stereo fields, putting stuff on one side and the other, and creating this amalgamation of sound that simply sounds amazing. Let's continue rocking this track because this is actually a pretty short song, but oof, it's packed with amazingness. Here we go. Damn, that was badass, right? That feel coming from the drums was insane. The way that the song progressed from this melodic line to the next one was fantastic, and it was due to the great use of the toms and the drums in general, because it opened up or paved the way for the progression to the next melodical and harmonic structure to pop in greatly. Damn, that's songwriting, and I don't know what else. It's excellent, simply excellent. Now, when it comes to the guitar tone, I want to begin the mix analysis by discussing this with you. Can you hear that the guitar has some form of extra stuff to it? It's not just a guitar. To my ears, and please, those who are much more versed when it comes to the gear used by the band, there is some form of chorus effect on the guitar. Chorus is it's a modulation effect. I will explain that a little bit further down the line. But I can hear some form of modulation on his guitar. Well, it's not that I can hear, it's clearly there. But the thing is that I don't know if it's a chorus or if it's something like this, a micro pitch effect. This is a pitch factor, and it does something quite interesting, because a micro pitch effect would be something that takes the sound, the original source of the sound, and then it's duplicated, and the duplicate of the sound is going to be slightly detuned downwards and upwards at the same time, and you can actually have repetitions of those duplicates. Each of those repetitions are gonna keep detuning through time even further. And just for you to have an idea of what it sounds like, this is the dry sound of a guitar. And now the same chord, but with micro pitch. Cool, right? Very, very, very different tones. And I think the guitar tone on this track has something reminiscent to this effect. Please correct me if I'm wrong, but it could be that. And being a sucker for guitar effects, well, I always try to look at those. Also, we got plenty of reverb on the guitar, which reverb is this, reverb, okay? So it's creating an expansive tone or expansive sound that makes the guitar sound bigger, or at least being played inside of a big space. Now, it's time to analyze the mix, and on the mix we got a very, 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 very gentle curvature in our frequency range analyzer. And for those of you who are new to this channel, this is Decibel, and is the tool that we use to analyze music through the use of a visual medium. Or here we got the frequency range analyzer, and it's giving us the loudness for each of the individual frequencies that are part of the sound of our mix. And we can see here that we got 20, the lowest, and 20,000, the loudest or the highest we can hear frequency wise. And this is clearly an 80s track because of how not overly hyped any of the regions is. This is important, girls and boys, because I can assure you that you have learned to detect some particular guitar, not guitar, but mixing approaches that pertains to different eras. What do I mean by that? The more music you listen to, you start to realize that there are some similarities to certain eras in music production when it comes to the sound, the aesthetics of music. Some of those were derivatives or comes from the limitations that technology had back then, or simply aesthetic decisions. And when it comes to this is an 80s album, and it has all of the 80s tropes. You got a very controlled but projected mid range, not overly hyped lows, but still punchy enough. And it's giving us this kind of not bombastic tone. You can compare this to something more recent, and you will see that something more recent sounds more hi fi, if that makes sense to you. It has more energy because it's higher. The lows are much more pronounced. There is a lot of more detail because the rest of the music is also more is hyped up more than this one. And this particular tone has almost like a layer of, don't know, like a mist surrounding it. Please tell me what you think about what I just said, but you get it, right? It's a particular tone to it, and I love it. Personally speaking, I think this approach to mixing is something that should be back. It's awesome. Now, when it comes to the second section of our analyzer, we got what is called the dynamic range analyzer, and this is very important, girls and boys. While I take you to the first stake of this, what you see here is a blue blob. This blue blob represents the loudness of our music through time. This is very important, girls and boys, because for whatever reason, the louder a signal is the more exciting we understand it to be. This is the beginning of the track, and you can see how the very beginning, the introduction to the song with the synthesizer, the quirkiness of the sound that we got at the beginning, just ramped up once the drums kicked in. Bam! And that's why the song gets our attention so fast. And you can see that the song keeps developing momentum throughout time, because those loud parts, I can assure you, is when the vocals and the chorus, the big vocal arrangement took place. Now let me take you to the second section. This is the beginning of the chorus, the second verse, sorry. And you can see that what used to be almost the loudest point of the previous verse is now the standard. Very important, girls and boys, because this is the reason why the song keeps feeling like more engaging, more exciting as time progresses. Because this song, it's very filled to the rim with energy. It's fast-paced. Everything is hard-hitting. You got tons of information blasting you from every single angle of the frequency range spectrum, and everything done in a particularly exquisite way. The drums are playing a huge part of the whole execution of the track because of how well the drums allow the transitions from one part of the song to the other to work and be successful and effective. Extremely well done. So once again, this is one of those songs that I consider to be a masterclass of songwriting, especially because it's a very short track. And speaking of which, let's finish this bad boy off. How about that, girls and boys? What a great song this is, don't you think? It shows you everything the Police is all about, at least in this album, and it delivers everything and even more in a little bit more than 3 minutes. Just mind-blowing. I think this is the Police's best album. I might be biased because I love a good chunk of the songs coming out of this album. I know that they have plenty of great music, but in my particular opinion, this is peak the Police. Spoiler alert, well, not trigger warning if I put better terminology, but this is all about having a proper conversation and a civilized discussion, so please tell me if I am wrong, because chances are that you're already raging on what I just said. Okay, girls and boys, what do you think about the track as well? And what do you think about the whole execution of the song? And what do you think about Sting's vocals in this particular song? Even though he's a great singer, or if I put it in a much more precise way, he has a very interesting sound to his voice, and that's why he's a great singer. Not because of him being technically speaking super excellent at it. He's a good singer as well in that regard, but his forte comes from his tone, how high pitched his voice usually is, and how melodic it is, and also how high octane it is at times. But I don't think he's the star of the show. As I said before, the drummer, which please remember his name because he's great, he's excellent in this album. He's just off the charts, but this song is damn it. And I think, of course, the drummer is the star of the show in this one. He performs correctly. I love the use of the vocal arrangement in those sections, and it was quite clever, very well done. Before we go, please tell me which song by the Police I should react next to, because I happen to be a huge fan of the band and they have plenty of great music, so it would be great to analyze another song by them together next time around. So please tell me which would be a good pick for such a thing. Now, girls and boys, if you'd like to support this channel, the best way to do it is by listening to our music on Apple Music or Spotify, and also by following us on social media such as Instagram and X, because that's the best way for you to get in touch with us in a much more personal basis. Now, girls and boys, as every single time that I meet you, I gotta remind you something. Never ever let anybody tell you what to dream about. Remember that I will see you when I see you.